Oh no, he said, "Oh, hey, wait, hold on."
Got our theme music. Welcome to the TD Report. I'm your host, David Combs. Here,
Oh,
as always, with Tony Kennedy. We got
you
some
know I
special
gotta do it,
here
baby.
today. Devin POV Sports, my man, he's here, and we've got Jody Coleman. Hey, Jody. Before we get started, great work. Great work this weekend. Great work. Jody was broadcasting and working the Big Ten championship. So that was some great work. Before we get started on the real topic, which is we're going to talk Deion all night. But real quick, I want to definitely give Jody a shout out. You've done a lot of games this year. You've been working with your Big Ten credential. Talk to me about the Big Ten championship game. Usually we hear about the SEC championship game and, the pomp and the circumstance. I watched the production on television. It was a sight to see.
Hey, the Big Ten championship, they really treated us really well in there. I think that it's a great atmosphere for college football. It seemed like it was a Michigan home game because I think it was probably about 90% Michigan fans in there. I mean, it looked like a Michigan home game, even though that was Purdue's home state. But I think they knew Michigan bought all those tickets, and the Michigan crowd was extremely loud. To be honest, watching the product on the field, Michigan is a lot better than what I gave them credit for. I think they're well coached. But some of the defenses that they were running against them, they kept running the single high safety, and J.J. McCarthy was killing them. But until they switched up, and then guess what? When they went to two safeties back, they ran the ball. So Jim Harbaugh just outcoached, and not that and also the talent level. You saw the disparity in talent when it got to after halftime. You seen that. Okay, those guys are 5 stars and those guys are 3 stars, and I think it made a difference. But the atmosphere was great. They have it there every year. I can't wait to go back. It's a great atmosphere for college football.
Hey, Devin, I know you're a big fan of quarterback play. You're a high school coach.
Yes,
what did you think about the quarterback talent that was on display on both sides?
Well, I think J.J. McCarthy got a bad rap because people thought he couldn't pass the football, but I guess those people didn't follow him in high school. He's a dual threat, and when you're a dual threat, your job is to use your arms and your legs. Use your arm and your legs, and he's so good at using his legs and buying time that Michigan's run game this year was so good all year that he never had to push the ball downfield. So the one time they did have to push it, Ohio State went single high, cover 0. He tore them to pieces. So that's what you people got to understand. This kid was a 4-star on most recruiting things, but a 5-star, I believe, with 24/7 Sports. So I don't understand why people think he can't pass. You see that throw he made Saturday night down the seam on a rope?
It was tight.
That can't be taught. That can't be taught. Go ahead,
Stop
man.
it,
I ain't
Tony.
doing this, man. Tony, not tonight, man. Not tonight, Tony. No.
Nah, Tony. Nah,
he ain't no
don't
Jesse.
do that.
Tony, he ain't no Jesse. J.J. McCarthy,
Don't do
I'm
that.
going to tell you, J.J. McCarthy gives them a chance to win this whole thing. And I think what's going to catch up with him at some point is not having Blake Corum, though, because they don't have the smash mouth wear you down back. Donovan Edwards is a really good young back, but he's a speed back. He isn't going to beat you physically inside. That's where Michigan has been making their bread and butter. But without Blake, if Blake was healthy, Harbaugh could win this whole thing. He really could. He has enough.
Okay.
They have a very good defensive line rotation that no one talks about, featuring Chris Jenkins' son, former NFL guy. He's their guy, Mozzie Smith, who is in a little
Maryland
trouble
guy.
with the felony guy. But then they have some good corners. DJ Turner can cover, and the other guy on the other side can cover. But again, the quarterback for Purdue is not bad. He can throw it too. He just doesn't have the weapons. Charlie Jones is all he has. Durham's a good tight end, but they don't even use him like they should. They don't run him on enough routes to me. He's too much inline blocking for my life.
Yeah, he's kept in the block.
It's like this guy's a great pass catcher. Get him out in the routes. Get him out a little bit more. But overall quarterback play was pretty good. Pretty good.
Excellent. Good to hear. We're going to loop back. We're going to loop back in and talk about the playoffs. We will do that at the end.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Jody.
Maccabee, the running back for Purdue, he's a freshman. Devin Maccabee, he reminds me a lot of Ricky Waters. So put him on. He's the real deal. Maccabee, he runs like Ricky Waters.
Ricky Waters was ahead of, honestly, Ricky Waters was ahead of his time. If Ricky Waters was playing football now, he'd be dangerous in these
MVP
types
candidate.
of offenses because you
He'd
can
be
split him
MVP
out.
candidate. He'd be
You
MVP
can,
candidate.
yeah, you can split him out.
MVP candidate, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
So let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Big news over the weekend. Deion Sanders moves on from Jackson State after much rumor and conjecture. Almost 2 months to the day after the 60 Minutes interview, where he said if a Power 5 team came a calling, he would have to consider it. He didn't say he would take the job 2 months ago, but he said he would have to consider it. Well, that day has come. Deion Sanders will now move on and step in as the head coach at University of Colorado. Okay, he takes over Buffalo's program that has put 9 figures into infrastructure, support, and facilities just for the football program. You almost can't write a better ticket than that. You walk in with a $5 million contract. You take care of your assistants that supported you during your time at Jackson State, and you walk into virtually a new facility, a new training facility, specifically for football, strength and conditioning for your players. Obviously, it's Deion Sanders. A lot of conjecture, a little bit of controversy, a lot of excitement, and of course, disappointment at Jackson State. Let's start with you, Tony. Tony, you've been in this business. You've been a recruited athlete. You have worked in athletic administration. You work with high school kids now. So you understand the recruiting game. Talk to me about Deion Sanders moving from the SWAC into the Pac-12. Talk to me about that.
First thing is that all kids, you have to realize this is a business. And when you go to sign that piece of paper, understand this is a business. And I'm not going to get too much into it because as a 17-year-old, y'all know I'm a Carolina basketball fan. Y'all know that. Me and Dad went at it last year for the thing. So all those schools recruit me in football. 1987, I'm happy. I go down to Carolina. They play Virginia. They come back and they win this just unbelievable. I mean, dude, I went down there and I was all in for Carolina. They was recruiting this other little running back, but they liked me because I was big or whatever. I'm good. Something happened after Thanksgiving, though. Coach got fired. And my offer got fired, too. And my offer was gone. And now, for a kid who always wanted to go to Carolina, my family lives in Carrboro, everything went down the drain. That day, in 1987, I realized that this is a business. And from that day on, I look at all this stuff totally different because they hurt my dreams. All those years of waking up and thinking I'm going to be at the same school as Michael Jordan and doing all this. And yeah, I'm going to have that baby blue on, God and Carolina and the sky is blue and all that crap. It was gone. What do you tell that kid? When you sign up for this can happen. I got lucky to go to Virginia Tech and keep up with the same coach and the same administration through my entire time. Mm-hmm. Some kids have 3. Kids, parents, anyone who's in it that's listening. When you sign that piece of paper, make sure that you love the school and not the person who is there selling you the school. Because the person there selling you the school is, you got to remember these words. You get hired to be fired or you retire.
That's the business. Devin, you're working with high school kids that are on that cusp, looking to go to whatever school they're going to end up at. You've got kids in Power 5 programs. You've got kids at the HBCU level. Talk to us about facilities. Talk to us about training opportunities, development opportunities as a player. When you sit down with a family with one of your guys and you're talking to mom and dad, most mom and dads don't have one kid that gets recruited, right? Mm-hmm. Some kids some families, like, I don't know, the Haydens, they've got college recruiters that have been parked outside their house for the past 15 years, recruiting each one of the brothers. So by the time you've had 3 or 4 kids go through the process, or 1 or 2, you kind of know the game. You're dealing with a lot of parents who don't understand the game. How do you help a young man make that decision of what is the best program for him?
Go where they need you and love you, not where they want you. That's my thing. Where they want you is they want you because they don't want nobody else to have you. But do they really want you in terms of using your abilities on the field? A lot of times, it's like I say, it's competition. It's like you see in all sports. You'll see, and I'm gonna give this example. You see the Kansas City Chiefs do this every year when a guy gets released that they think could come out to hurt during the playoffs. What the Chiefs do? Snatch him up, put him on the practice squad, and hold him there until they want to move him up or whatever, so you won't get him. They did the thing with Melvin Gordon a few weeks ago. Smart move. Get him out of your way. That way you won't have to play against him. Smart. So I tell these guys all the time, parents as well, I tell the dads, whoever's listening, do not get caught up in the hoopla or they want me or they whatever. They make sure they need you. Make sure that position that you play is a position of need and not 8 or 9 guys in front of you. I had the running back that played for me 2019, transferred to Wise. Lost all his offers that he had because of how he left us after the championship game. And the offers went away. And then he ended up going to Chowan, which is fine. Good CIAA school, but there's 7 running backs in front of you. There's 7. 7. Now you're stuck in a numbers game where there ain't no guarantee they're gonna renew your scholarship next year anyway. There's no guarantee with that. Each year, they're gonna get new kids in. So he's in a situation now. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's because of, you gotta do stuff the right way. You gotta choose the right situation, and you gotta get the right people in your corner that know what they're talking about. And you got to listen to people that know a little bit more than what the people that you're probably listening to think they know. So that's my big thing. Make sure you listen to the right people. Make your own decision, but take the right advice. Don't just take advice from your parents or people that you think, they don't know nothing most of the time. They don't. They're out here. That's why we're here. But they don't know it. If they knew it, they wouldn't have to ask us to help. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. I got a kid today. Got to offer the guy your dad. Kid can't play a lick, but he's going. He's going. We're going to get a full ride to Gallaudet. Can't play a lick.
Gallaudet invented the huddle. Huh? They might know something about football over there. I don't know.
Yeah, they invented the huddle, but is he deaf?
No, he's not deaf, but he's going to Gallaudet to play football.
Trust me.
Hey, man. He's going to be okay. Point, as bad as this kid is on the field, we're just happy to see him get a shot. I mean, let's just be happy for the guy. He can't play a lick, but he's going to go on a full ride. I can't get mad at that. He took his shirt, took his picture with his uniform on and everything today.
That's like a $40,000 a year school.
That's a D3 school. That's a D3.
But it's $40,000 a year.
$40,000, and it's close to home. And
it's very close to home. Yeah,
he'll get a chance to go and play. I mean, I ain't mad at him. I'm happy for the kid. He sent me the picture. I said, I'm happy for you, man. Very happy for you. So.
Jody, talk to me about what advantages and disadvantages is Deion going to have moving from an HBCU school up to Power 5. He's going to be a first-time head coach at the Power 5 level at age 55. And I'm going to go back to that in a second. But go ahead, Jody. What advantages does he have walking in the door?
Well, he has a tremendous amount of advantages, and when he comes into a Power 5 organization, that they already know what he's there to do. He's going to have he just flipped and got one of the top wide receivers in the country from IMG, if I'm correct. He's taking 10 players away from Jackson State and bringing them with him. So he already got a starting quarterback because his son is going to come with him automatically. And I'm pretty sure Travis Hunter's coming with him. I'm pretty sure the kid.
Yeah, he already announced it. Travis Hunter announced it about an hour ago. He's already on the transfer portal.
So the advantages that he has is USC and UCLA will be departing. So he has to compete with Oregon in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 don't play a lot of defense. So he has an offensive philosophy automatically. So he comes in the gate being able to just Deion Sanders alone is going to take that 1-win team to at least 5 wins just with him alone. Facilities are so much better. So now every kid in Colorado is going to come to Colorado. They're not going to lose those top recruits to the USCs and UCLAs anymore, or the Oregons or the Alabamas or the Ohio States of the world, because Deion Sanders he's going to shut that border off. So any great players out of Colorado is going to Colorado. And that's because he comes in with a lot of money. A lot of alumni are going to be behind him. They haven't won a national championship in over 30 years. They haven't really been relevant. Right. They haven't been relevant the last 25 years, probably since Cordell Stewart was there. They haven't really been relevant.
Michael Westbrook. Yeah.
Michael Westbrook and, guys like that.
Rashawn Salam. So, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And
Rest
I
in
believe
peace,
that
Rashawn Salam.
it'll take him only about 2 seasons to right the ship out in Colorado. And he brings a certain type of swagger that no college football team has in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely beneficial for him from a personal standpoint. And then let's not forget Jerry Rice. Did Jerry Rice's son still go out there?
Nah, he played for USC now.
No, he's USC.
Okay. Brendan, he transferred in this year. He played for USC.
Oh, okay, well he was there, but I bet if he would have been there, he wouldn't have transferred. I guarantee he wouldn't have made that transfer.
But Dion's grandson was there. Remember?
Yeah, he was there too. Drew Brees' grandson was there. He was there. Yeah, he was.
People talk a lot about, it's, somebody was saying that, it's not fair that Deion Sanders is going to bring his son with him and install him at quarterback. Let me just throw this out here. Many, many years ago, North Carolina State basketball fired their coach. The guy that was in consideration to be coach was Press Maravich, Pete's dad. Mm-hmm. NC State didn't hire Press Maravich because he was going to bring his son. So he ended up at LSU. And that's why Pete Maravich ended up at LSU. So before anyone worries about whose son is coming to their program, when you hire a coach and his kid plays the sport, son is coming too. Offensive coordinators, by the way, have been doing this for about 100 years in football, where I'll see the primary quarterback get hurt, and then you hear, the offensive coordinator's son is the backup quarterback. Now, how do you think that happened?
But you know what's funny, Dave? Also, yes, sir. They won one game, so the quarterback couldn't have been that great.
He was in the portal. He was in the portal before Deion was even announced as the coach. He was leaving anyway. With the portal being what it is, I think what I want to bring out to you guys, and you guys know this, is that the one thing about in the old days, before there was a transfer portal, it would take you a solid 3 to 4 years to really churn through and get your guys in there. But now, with that transfer portal, the graduate transfers that can leave a program or come into another program and so on and so forth, it does make it easier for you to turn over a roster a little faster in college football.
They had 900 new entries today.
Wait,
it's 3,200.
900 new entries into the portal today.
3,200 kids in the portal between D1 and D3. 3,200.
Devin, tell these kids, talk to these kids and tell them on this show, do not wait to sign your offer.
I've told them.
Sign that offer before a June.
You better take the offer that's in front of you and sign it, because these portal guys are already proven most of the time, and they're gonna take them. I'm telling you, you better sign. Told you about the kid we had to play receiver that Larry Scott came. We met with Larry Scott face to face. I want you. 3 months later, COVID hit. He didn't sign. Them jokers entered the portal. Larry Scott, he called Larry and said, "Can I still?" Larry said, "Man, I'm gonna have to pull that back because I got 4 guys 6'4" or bigger that's trying to come here. You 5'11". He out the question now, and they run just as fast as you.
The UVA quarterback, UVA quarterback from this year is in the portal. He'll be a grad transfer. He threw for 4,900 yards last year.
And so is Devin Leary.
He can sling it
from NC State.
He can sling it.
Yeah, Leary, and then Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. These quarterbacks better get on their ball, because these Power 5 schools that are looking for that one, like Georgia's going to be looking for another guy that can run, because they want to keep this train going. They don't want to enter a young guy right now. Grayson McCall, Devin Leary, them kind of guys are going to go places like that, because that team is already ready to win. All you got to do is come in and not mess it up.
Honestly, this is better than junior college. This is better than junior college.
He's probably going to go to Chip Kelly, UCLA. Me and Tony talked about that earlier.
He would probably go to LA. He probably
go back.
Spot. So
UCLA or Oregon, but Oregon's got a 5-star coming in that they're going to probably play right away. So he'll probably go. He just dealt with that with Cade Klubnik. He don't want to deal with that again. So go to UCLA, be the starter, and see what UCLA can do with Chip Kelly's offense, which would be good for him because he fits Chip Kelly's scheme, which is good.
So in this era, so we can understand, guys, what we're laying out for you is this is a little different thing This ain't our era no more. This isn't, back in the day, you got, 4 years. Right now, this is amazing. If every person on Colorado's team right now on scholarship came and said, we're getting rid of our scholarships, we're going in the portal, Deion will have a team up by Martin Luther King's birthday, and he will have them there for winter workout. He will have them on the field by April 16th, 20th for spring game, working out together, knowing all his system, getting it down. Here's the advantage that Deion has, and I kind of think he looked at this. We talk trash all the time. Big 12, don't play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Pac-12, don't play defense. Okay, now let's pull this back. Deion so happens to, as a defensive guy, he so happens to have a really, really good offense. Now, if you think you're going to come up and devise a plan and throw that ball on Deion Sanders, throw that ball on Dennis Thurman, who both were all pros, who both understands the corner and the safety position. If you think that you're just going to line up and you're going to go up and down the field on Colorado in that conference, you have another thing coming to you.
Well, you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to run it on them.
They're going to find a way to stop you. If it ain't next year, it's going to be the year after. And when he looked at everything, he saw that the two big dogs were leaving the conference. He saw, I got Washington State, Arizona State, Stanford, Cal. I'm not worried about them.
Yep.
Because guess what? Remember back in the day, Colorado had a pipeline going to Boulder. And let me say one more thing.
From California.
I went to Virginia Tech. So let me explain how it is. Virginia Tech is in the middle of the mountains. And Virginia Tech is very, very rural. So outside Virginia Tech is really not much to do with this and that. And then Colorado's kind of the same way. But Colorado is Virginia Tech on steroids. And let's come into this century. What can you do in Colorado that
you can smoke? You can smoke weed.
You can sit there and smoke weed.
You can ski. You can ski.
You can ski. You can smoke weed.
And the rules.
You can ski and smoke weed.
The rules for the NCAA with marijuana has changed to the Olympic rules. So that little bit of trade, it doesn't even. What I'm telling you is they're about to build inside of Boulder. They're about to be so. It's going to be so unbelievable that it's not even going to be close because Deion's going to be. Did you hear what the guy say? The one guy said, "Welcome to my hangar." Not welcome to Boulder, but welcome to my hangar. A hangar at an airport means I got multiple airplanes here. This is mine, which means it's yours, which means I can get out and go get you anybody you want. That's real money, folks. And you think y'all gonna compete? Them people gonna compete against that? Oh, it's about to be on. And he put it down. And I hear people talk, well, he was too forward with the kids, and this and that. No, what he was being real. You just don't ever get to see the cameras. He's telling you.
Real quickly, one of the kids that play for him is a buddy of mine. His name is Larry Bethel. His son is on the roster. Lester Bethel. I'm sorry. Lester Bell. I've known him about 15 years through other people. His son is a wide receiver that's a graduate player. His son told him, don't believe anything that you saw outside of him telling us that some of us, and he didn't say go into the portal like we can't be on his team. He said, if you don't want to work, because I'm coming. He kept saying, I'm coming. So all the stuff that you got away with here before me won't work. That's what he said that my son was sitting there front and center, and Deion was so respectful but forward about what it's going to be when he gets back from coaching this Celebration Bowl in a couple weeks. It's going to be full running, hitting the road full force. Ain't gonna be no games being played. So all that, he was nasty, and he was telling them they can go. He was telling them, yeah, I got guys coming. And some of those spots are already taken, but he also told them you'll still have the spot to compete for it. You'll have a chance to compete for a spot if you really want it. He was just giving them a heads up. There's nothing's going to be done like it was done under Carl Durrell. That's what he was telling them. This is my ship. This is my program now, and I'm doing it my way. That's what Lester Bell told me, that his son told him. So that's a dude that was sitting in the meeting room with him yesterday. Father that told me this.
Hey, Jody, what do you think about that approach? Would you, if this were your son, would you have a problem with it?
You know what? I talked to Tony at length yesterday about how I truly felt about this move. I've definitely read a lot of what Dev have been posting all season long. And coming from an HBCU, I'm an HBCU grad, Central State. I'm a Central State alum.
Go Marauders.
And it's kind of emotional for me because as an HBC student, as an African American, I'm used to being let down. I'm used to somebody coming in, taking what they can and going. And I know y'all got different opinions than me, but this is my opinion on Deion Sanders departing. It's because he had the world at his fingertips with HBCU. He had it where he was making changes at an alarming level. He had it where I know his assistants wasn't getting paid much, but it was coming. He had it where people believed in HBCU football. He had it where Power 5 schools was mad at him because he's taking those athletes from him. And I said this about 7 years ago when the Kaepernick kneel. I said for Black America to make a stand, sometimes you got to do it through sports. I said if all the top 100 basketball players and top 100 football players went to HBCUs, we would change the narrative. And that's what was happening. I said, okay, great. Somebody did something about it. Deion Sanders, you couldn't put a better person in that position with his polarizing personality, with his swagger, with his confidence. He gave that to a whole conference. And to go to Colorado, I knew personally is the best thing for him, for his professional career, for his assistants. But as an HBCU grad, as an African American that's seen it over and over with all the people that end up being great in our community, with the rappers, with the entertainers, all the people that got major influence, they always seem to come and go. And then we're stuck living destitute. I understand somebody got to pick up the mantle, but nobody can pick it up like Deion could. Nobody going to be able to replace that guy ever in history will be able to replace what he has done for HBC. We believe in HBCU. We had ESPN come and cover an HBCU game.
Game day.
He was going to continue to do that because guess what? If all the best players are playing in Jackson State, ESPN has no choice but to come down. And guess what comes with that? Money come with that. NIL deals come with that. So yeah, they wasn't getting a lot of money now, and I can't count anybody's pockets. I understand from a business perspective, but he was the king, and he was able to be. It's only so many people in the world that's chosen. I believe Deion Sanders was chosen. I understand what he did. I'm not mad at what he did, but I am a little disappointed because at least see your recruiting class go through. At least stay there for 4 years. Give it 4 years. So you can get another predecessor that can come in and handle that mantle and maybe get some more coaches in the HBCU realm. They got Eddie George, they got Hugh Jackson, but I'm talking about get some more that's polarizing like him. And I feel like once again, I feel saddened and I feel like let down again as an African American because it seemed like that happens every time. Every time it seemed like every one of our African Americans that actually get to where he can make his own decisions, it seemed like he's bought with a price.
Mm-hmm. Tony, first time, and I appreciate that, Jody. First time head coach at the FBS level, okay? At 55 years old. How much of an impact can Deion have at Colorado?
I got breaking news. The Kent State head coach has just been hired by Deion as the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He took a MAC head coach, which, folks, do you understand? The MAC conference is the father of all conferences.
And
He took a head coach at Kent State, good program, and made that head coach his offensive coordinator. So that led right into your question. So he got head coaches. He got somebody who's coming from that level. See, what people don't understand, Deion is very, very smart. Jody should be mad. He should be upset because Deion came in as Superman, to others, came in, tried to change the culture. But on the other end, and I'm not mad at Jody because he giving you that's his feelings. But on the other end, where are we as HBCUs? You know this day was coming from his interview 2 months ago. It's a possibility. What are we doing to put in place so that we can build this, so that we don't need Deion's, we don't need Ray Lewis's, we don't need any T.O. big names, so that we can run this without big names, so it can run. Now, so let's say he lit the fire. So what are we going to do? I can go with one thing, and it's going to piss some people off. Let's stop trying to look cute outside at the games with these damn tents and only coming for homecoming. How about you do that every week? Let's buy season tickets, whether they winning or losing. Because when I looked up at my sorry school this year, and they were terrible, they were 2-9. They packed in to see another 2-9 team, Georgia Tech. It was 60,000 people in there, and we stunk this year. But guess what? Those people came in and supported their team. That right there is when we have to look in the mirror and say, are we going to support our team each week? That doesn't take the man. That doesn't take this. That doesn't take that. You have to support your team. And that's not being done at HBCUs. It show up at homecoming. Give me other times. I don't care about homecoming. I don't care about stomping that damn yard. Stomp that yard every week.
I got it. Before you go to Dave, can I address what Tony just said? Because
sure, go ahead.
I understand fully, but when you look at an HBCU, you got to think HBCUs are not everywhere in the country. A lot of people that go to these are not from those places. When I went to Central State, it was so many people from Chicago. A ton, probably about 50% of our enrollment was from Chicago. Another is from Indianapolis. A lot of them from Cleveland. That's not an easy drive to do that every week. And student loans, about student loans. So, but when you're looking at these Power 5 conferences, more than likely, a lot of those people are in state. When you get a top 5 player, Dev can contest it. Is when you get a top 5 player, they normally going where they was top 5 player at. So it's easier to support a team when you are in that environment. Nobody lives in Jackson, Mississippi, or is that where Jackson State is? No, it's not.
Yeah,
listen, when I say a lot of people that go to that school, I listen. I know, like, matter of fact, Dallas Daniels. Dallas Daniels is from Dayton, Ohio. I know. I went to school. I played ball with his dad. I interviewed. He used to cut my grass. The kid is from Dayton, so how is he gonna go back to Jackson State and go to every game?
Okay, well, the local community. Wait a minute. None of them people from Virginia Tech will go to Virginia Tech.
But y'all
those are local people too.
But you got a lot of people, and Virginia Tech is known. Y'all are known.
No. See, Jody, what you're saying is everybody's coming from all these other areas, and it's hard to get back to games. You are correct. But the local people, every HBCU was created because of the local base, and they couldn't get in the predominantly white schools. There is a disconnect between the school and the community for supporting sports. We see it in the HBCU as taboo to support the sports like you support everything else. Support is support is support. Won't you come out, even if you can't make it from Chicago? You can make it for the homecoming. But all those other people that are right there within 2-3 hour drive, please come in. I can talk about Howard. Howard alums are all over the country, but we got enough black folks here to fill Green Stadium.
We've got
And that
enough
place
Howard.
ain't
We've got
empty.
enough Howard alums here to do a
We
good
got enough
job
Howard
helping that
alums.
stadium out.
And
You're
they
right.
don't bring their butts out there to fill the stadium. But then the first ones crying and complaining that, oh, we can't beat Maryland. Well, we can't beat Maryland because y'all can't even come in here and support your team. It's $200 for a season ticket. At least support them with the $200 for season ticket and give it to some high school kids. Something
That's
has
one
to
thing
be
to do.
done, and we need to take accountability on ourselves and say we have to support these schools. Now, if anybody ever say anything about me, I was the first person to put my classics at HBCUs on purpose. The math had never played at the HBCU until me. It was so bad that these fools all around the state didn't even know where Morgan State was. In our own state, they didn't even know where Morgan State was, who's the number one team in our state for the amount of NFL players in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
They didn't even know where the school was.
Yep.
Bowie State practices start next week for the Crab Bowl. We always practice at Bowie State. So between Bowie State, so we, Crab Bowl, we have put our money where our mouth is for the last 13, 14 years. And why I do that? Because my wife was like, oh, we need to support HBCUs. And we've been putting our money up. What about all these other people that's talking trash? I'm tired of seeing people say, well, you know, you HBCU grad. And you're right, Jody. You do feel let down because it is a letdown. And I understand that. But everybody else they're letting you down too, Jody, because they're not taking the blueprint and using that blueprint
That's
and
it.
saying, let's do it this way. Let's
Yep.
take our second place team and put our second place team in the Celebration Bowl. And now let's go compete against the 1AA, because in the end, we all on here competing against each other right here on the TD report. So what do you think the players want to do when you come up to them and say, great win in the Celebration Bowl, but y'all couldn't beat North Dakota State? How do we know they can't beat North Dakota State?
Start beating North Dakota State. Start beating James Madison. Well, not anymore because James Madison's moving up. So start beating the William and Marys of the world.
Youngstown State. He got Youngstown State in his state. Youngstown State get more at that school than we get in the entire state of Maryland. And that's a 1AA school. We can't even get that here. But we are, and don't get me started, because these black folks are tripping me out because they talking about, let's keep it real. You Negroes ain't keep it real when you moved up out the hood. You ain't keep it real when you took Johnny up out of the school and sent him to private school. So how everybody else supposed to keep it real? I don't see you down there living in East Baltimore. I don't see you in Southeast DC. Y'all ain't keeping it real. F that keeping it real. Keeping it real is what got Pookie and Ray Ray in jail.
I'm ready to hear what he got to say on this.
Devin, I want to hear what you have to say about Deion's legacy at Jackson State in a very short time, but also, where does Jackson State go from here?
Can I make a comment about that Mac hiring real quick?
Jump in.
I don't think you guys know how important that is, because that coordinator, head coach, took Colin Schlee from Oakdale and Quez Cooper from Quince Orchard and turned them into the best duo probably in the MAC, running and throwing the football. And Colin Schlee is a lot like Shedeur, 6'2", 6'3", dual threat, can throw it a mile, and it's just very good. So that is a heck of a hire. And it wouldn't shock me to see Quez Cooper enter the portal and maybe follow him. That's the kind of back Deion's been looking for, quick scat back, something he hasn't had at Jackson State, that you're going to need at the Power 5 level, those quick out of the backfield guys that can, take it home run ability and can catch it and receive it a little bit. I think that, not saying it'll happen, but if it did, it wouldn't shock me. Deion's legacy, I wrote a piece. He doesn't owe HBCUs anything. He doesn't, because he doesn't owe them anything because of everything he accomplished in such a short time. he doesn't owe them to sit there for the next 3 or 4 years and wait on money to come through to pay assistants that took less money to come join him.
In the first place, right?
The first place. These 3 or 4 of them guys took a lot less money to join him when they could have taken other jobs. Deion says it's not about the bag, but his bag has gone back to the school every year to build the facilities up. Why he got to build the facilities up when he, making $300,000, he gives that right back? What kind of mess is that? Come on, man. So for me, I look at it like this. It stings because it's an HBCU. It stings. But at the end of the day, in his 2 years and some time, the stuff that he accomplished in that little bit of time, he did his part. He did his part. He did what he was supposed to do. He came in there. Jackson, Mississippi had a $20 million deficit when he got there because of COVID.
Yeah.
He gave him a $30 million surplus in a year.
That's $50 million in my bag.
$50 million.
But that's what I'm saying, Dev.
There was 21 mom and pop businesses on the way out the door. That 1 year saved those businesses.
So why can't we? What I'm saying, Dev, is why can't we have? Why do we as African Americans have to just get enough or just equal to? Why can't we get more? Why can't we get continuous? Why can't we get continuous excellence?
But at the end of the day, this is unfortunately how it is. And I put up a piece today. You saw the thing I posted, Dave, where I said this is systemic racism in a nutshell. It showed how much each HBCU was underfunded. $2 billion, $3 billion. Each of these. Florida A&M is due almost $6 billion that the state of Florida has never given them.
Correct.
Has given it to South Florida, has given it to Florida, has given it to Florida State, has given it to Miami. That money has never gone down to FAMU, down to Bragg Stadium to upgrade anything down there. You know? So, but real quickly, another thing that's going to help Deion at Colorado is the best left tackle in the NFL when he's healthy is a Colorado graduate. He's going to help him keep those linemen in state. His name is David Bakhtiari from the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
He told Deion yesterday, he said, don't worry, linemen won't be leaving this state now. So that's the kind of stuff, when you come places like that, and you got a guy like Bakhtiari who comes from Colorado and wasn't a real high guy on the draft boards and has turned into one of the best, kids listen.
Hey, Jody. What Jody, so folks, so we understand each other, what Jody is saying is 1,000% correct.
Yes,
it is.
Okay.
It is.
So let's understand. We're not going against what Jody's saying. But in the reality of this world of college football, we need to find that, what Jody's saying, we need to find that person, and we need to find a way to take what Deion did and put a little bit of that in each school, and they need to rise. I hope that they all fight to prove Deion wrong and he shouldn't have left, and we're going out here to prove him wrong by adding monies in their facilities, by hiring better coaches, by putting money back to their facility. Not that crap Howard did, $1 million and $20,000 back to the football team. I know pimps that's giving prostitutes more than that. So don't hit me with that crap.
I was appalled by that, but you know what, Tony? The devil is in the allocation, right? So at the very top line, you're going to see $100 million come in the door, right? But as it trickles down to each individual program, administration, academics, so on and so forth, and on down the line, if you're going to tell me that your athletics programs are going to be at the bottom of the trough, the problem is there's nothing in the trough when you get down to the bottom. That's the issue. But so go ahead, Deb. Go ahead, Jody. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought I didn't want to end your thought, but the thing about it, Dave, when I went to Central State, if anybody know the history of Central State, back in the late 80s and the mid 90s, they dominated HBCU football. They was beating teams 100-0. Go look it up.
Central State, Wilberforce, right?
No, just Central State. Wilberforce is another school. It's across the street.
Okay.
They don't have a football team. They have a basketball team. But when they did that and they were beating teams, people don't realize that Ohio State was playing Central State in like undisclosed games, and Ohio State wouldn't play them because Central State was beating them. Because this is back in the day when Prop 48 was about. So they was getting those kids from Georgia, or Alabama that couldn't get in. Central State was taking them and letting them play right away. So they was mopping the floor with Ohio State. Ohio State didn't want to do that. So they made sure that they never played Ohio State in the real game because they were scared that they would lose because they were playing in undisclosed places and was losing in the late 80s. Look it up.
Eric Williams was there. Eric Williams was going there. They said if Eric Williams had gone to a high D1 school, you would be talking about him as one. And he had that car accident that blew his knee up. Yeah. He wasn't the same player. And he was still one of the best players of his era. He was amazing. Yeah. Physical, strong. You know,
he was the only guy that Reggie White couldn't control. Reggie White
he used to piss. Yeah, he used to make Reggie White mad. He used to make Reggie mad. Yeah, Reggie didn't like him.
On a consistent basis when they played the Cowboys, whipped his ass. I used to sit there and watch that.
Physically.
Yes. Physically. Yes. You wasn't bullying him. Wasn't bullying Eric Williams. No. No.
And the enrollment at Central State was through the roof. As soon as they took our football team away in the mid-90s and then tried to bring it back, we had staff members. I went there and I also worked in the financial aid department. We laid off so many people. Why? Because if you got a winning football team, your enrollment's gonna go up. That means you're gonna have more money, and you're going. So I want to look at Jackson State's enrollment since Deion got there, and then I want to see the enrollment after he leaves. I guarantee you, they were on their way to be able to pay somebody. They were just going to have to get somebody to allocate those funds. Maybe he couldn't wait that long. I understand the assistants wasn't making that much. But the thing about it is he was so polarizing. There's nobody else you can ever put in that position that's going to be as polarizing as Deion Sanders. Unless you bring Nick Saban it's nobody that has his charisma. And he carried the whole league. And I know he doesn't owe the HBCU in anything. I know he don't. I know he got to do what's best for his family, what's best for his son. But this is why it hurts so bad, is because we always seem to, as soon as we start competing with these, I'm gonna keep calling them Power Five, but what I'm really meaning, and I'm not gonna say, but we got
PWI. You could say PWI.
Yeah. These PWIs is that we had them where they were coming to us. Why do we always got to go to them? Make them come to us.
I can dig it.
You go back to Black Wall Street. If they wouldn't have burned down Black Wall Street, we wouldn't need them. America has the top. Black African Americans are the top dollar in spending in America. But guess what they did? They made sure we don't have a Black Wall Street. Then they come in and they make sure that we don't have this coach. Let's pull him out. Let's pay him a bag so we can get him out of Jackson State so he won't be a headache for us.
That's a good point.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Can I ask Jody this? Jody, is it because we like nice, shiny looking things, and that what makes us go to those things? Because Jody, when you put the programs next to each other, when you put Howard next to Towson, on those levels, nobody's gonna go to Howard and those facilities. I mean, compared to Towson.
No way in hell.
You gotta put the money back into the program. They wouldn't even listen to Deion, and then when they telling them to go get in the playoffs,
that's probably the first thing is what Tony and I think you and Jody and Devin all have a handle on this even better than I have, and I've really appreciated what you've talked about. What HBCU football needs is what the NCAA doesn't have. They need a football czar. They need a guy or gal that's going to come in there and organize the business infrastructure of what HBCU football is, what the goals and objectives are of the HBCU football program. And I mean above all programs together. What do you want? Do you want to have a lot more guys going into the pros? Do you want to be the incubator for coaches? Do you want to be the incubator for offensive minds, statistics being used in the football? You see what I'm saying, Tony?
That is a great idea, because that person can now develop NIL departments. And as a czar, I would tell every school, if y'all listening here, I would tell every one of y'all school, if they over a 3-star, F them, don't recruit them. Recruit 3 stars and under. And we're going to start from that, and we're going to build on that, and we're going to make sure that we kind of do like they do when they bring these people in the country. We're going to do a pyramid scheme for everybody's program. So if we got a CIAA tournament, well, maybe this year we take 2 programs and throw $500,000 in their programs and build their programs up. Next year's tournament, we take 2 more teams. We got to build everyone up because, see, for black folks, the eyes, it has to catch our eyes. It has to look good for us to even look at it.
And that's a shame. And that's a shame because these are our kids. These are our kids.
We cutting through the real stuff. It's the eyes, that pretty ride, the nice clothes, the bag, the shades. So if we know that, then let's play to that. Let's put our money in the facilities so when the kids come, they're not seeing some BS and it looks worse than their high school. That's unrealistic for us to think that that kid is going to choose that over something that they looking at that's way better than that. That's unrealistic. I see you right now, Jody. I'm looking at your house. I looked at your before and after bathroom. That shit look nice. It's unrealistic that you can keep that nice in the bathroom and think that, you know, your wife or your honey gonna be like, yeah, this is all right. Nah, dog. That shit got to be nice because it got to look good because that's you. Your beard look good. Your hairline look good. You looking good. Your ride looking good. Your watch look good. That's what we are. So y'all can sugarcoat the shit. My Jordans look good. Y'all can sugarcoat it. You know what they like, so give them what they damn like.
But I want to add, I'm going to ask Dev this. See, another reason why is, you probably know this as much as anybody, Deion Sanders being in the HBCU and being successful, what did that bring? If he can get another basketball coach to come in, let's say he brought a Sam Cassell, somebody been trying to get a head coaching job with Rod Strickland, and he became the basketball coach at Jackson State. You understand what I'm saying? Why it was so monumental for Deion to stay and potentially get the Rod Stricklands or the Sam Cassells or all these guys that have been looking for a head coaching job in the NBA. Then you bring that guy, and he's at the same school at Jackson State.
Can he still do it?
Sanders, and then what they do? Who?
Can you still do it?
I don't know.
Jody, you acting like Deion Sanders is the Messiah.
He is. He was.
Well,
go ahead. Hey,
they got more. I mean, they got more wins.
Al has been a coach and administrator in
Old Cleveland Cavaliers, the head coach.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, let Al get in here. Al, thanks for joining the show. How you doing, man?
Appreciate it, fellas, man. Good, man. I hear all y'all perspective, man, and you know, it's for me. I'm on both sides. You know what I'm saying? And but one thing I say is the problem with Deion was he sold him a dream that was not achievable, or a dream that he left too soon for that dream. Because what mostly people was African American was looking at, it was a get back to say they wanted Jackson State to be on the level as a D1 Power 5 team. That's what they thought they was going to get. I knew it, and I told Tony that wasn't going to happen because of you got the red tape, you got the way it's structured, you got people that are greedy, you got people that don't want them to leave that SWAC conference, people that want to keep the HBCU stuff going, and people who had their own personal things involved in it to say, let's stick it to the white man. Why they forget that we play a sport, you know, where people come in and people leave. You know what I'm saying? So for me, Deion, he set expectation that you gave these folks like a false hope. Because so now a lot of folks are angry, like, how you just gonna leave like that with it's not complete? To me, I understand. Listen, he built this, he built that. I don't care what he built. If you ain't win nothing, if you ain't stand up against and played against a Power 5, any Power 5, like I don't care if it's University of Maryland, I don't care if it's Wisconsin. If you didn't play them for black people to feel like they achieved something, you didn't really achieve anything. Not saying he didn't, but he did. But this is what people was looking at. And I always cautioned people and said, Deion is going to win, but he's going to win at that level. Because one, they don't have the money to support him. They don't have the structure in there. Regardless of what he does at their university, there's things that's set in place that is hard for you to cross. You know what I'm saying? And I look at the other side is Deion is going to leave. I mean, he's going to get a better opportunity to come in. And anybody that plays sports is very competitive. And anybody, just like some of us who come out, you know, and I deal with these kids every day. You know, I just told a kid today who told me he wanted to enter the portal. I said, for what? Well, I'm trying to go D1. D1 ain't for everybody. He got pissed. I'm like, look, understand this. You're dominating the level you at. Now, you want to go D1 where it's totally different. Now, you might be on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Don't get upset. I'm telling you the reality. If it's meant for you to go pro, where you at, crush it and keep crushing it, you're going to go pro. I tell them, if you dominate where you at and you go and you run a 4-3-4-4, my man, somebody will put you on their team.
They'll find you.
And you can't run the fourth. And you can't run the fourth. What good is being able to run the 4-3 if you're buried on the bench?
Exactly. So that's what I explained to this kid and say, look, understand.
Thank God.
This.
Thank God for you. No, for real. You doing the Lord's work right there.
No,
you saving a young man.
Well,
you saving
that's
a young
funny
man
you say that,
harder.
Al, because I have a former player that plays at Maryland that hit me up about possible transfer, and I'm like, you're ranked 20th at your position in the nation, and you're talking about leaving? What are we really doing here? Like, what are we really doing here?
Listen,
I said,
I got one kid that tells me
the guy that was competing with you transferred already, so it makes sure that I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let you be. I'm not your dad. I'm not your mom. I'm just gonna tell you straight up.
I got another
package
kid
in Maryland's offense that fits your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Be willing to do that.
It's
you might
beautiful.
want to just stay there.
It's beautiful there. It's University of Maryland is running the Blue Crab offense.
I think he gets it. I think today he kind of. Well, he texted me an hour ago and said, "You're right, Coach Vaughn." So hopefully, we've gotten through to him and he isn't going to do it. But I'm just like, if you jump off the ledge, don't be surprised if it smacked you in the face, because this is not cake work. Jumping in that portal is not a blessing to everybody.
No,
it's not.
Everybody, 100%. I'm telling you, and I have a defensive back. That, and I just had a conversation with him and getting him an agent. And Tony knows him. He was at JMU, but he wanted to go D1. He balled out at JMU. I mean, fantastic. Left JMU, went to West Virginia. West Virginia played this year. And I showed him, and I sent it to him. I talked to the scouts. I told them, I said, look, the scouts said when you was at JMU, here what they rated you, undrafted. You played 1 year at West Virginia. Where you at? Undrafted.
Didn't change.
But what I told him is, you could have dominated at JMU, getting 4 or 5 picks, and had been more of an attention than you were just a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? So Tony will tell you, I'm honest with these kids. That's why some of them kids down there, I'm like, look, I'm only going to tell you because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me nothing. But I'm telling you now so you can see what it's like. I had another running back that sent me a thing that says, I want to transfer. I'm saying, you had a good year. He said, man, I didn't get the respect I deserve.
What?
You know what?
Hey, Al, you tell them this, film. I always tell them FDL, film don't lie. The more film you have, the better chance you have in surviving getting to the next level. But if you're sitting on the bench and I ain't got no film on you in 2 seasons, how the hell do I know if you can play or not?
Guys, you remember that famous rant.
Crazy, man.
You remember that famous rant that Rick Pitino said to ridiculous Boston fans when he told them, Larry Bird's not walking through that door.
Yeah, Kevin McDaniel.
Okay? This is what you got to tell these kids. Listen.
Yeah, man.
Your phone just rang. It wasn't Nick Saban. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You got a better chance of it being Halle Berry on that phone than it being Nick Saban wanting you to play football for him. Boy, you better look. This would be like something my dad would say. Boy, you better go in there and hit them books.
Hey, and Dave, ain't neither one of them gonna ring for either one.
Hey, look, hope springs eternal. Anything can happen.
Y'all are dream killers.
Y'all, these kids are crazy.
No, Tony, that's the problem. No, Tony, that's the problem. I'm not supposed to be 6'6" and be able to dunk. I'm a little short guy that does audits. That's my niche. That's where I stay at. You see what I'm saying?
Tony,
come on, man.
Tony,
these jokers out here chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, it's listen, Tony. these kids have to see the reality, man, because they don't get the reality from nowhere else.
These
They
kids
don't
wouldn't
get
be
it
jumping
from
in there
nowhere
so fast if they still had to sit out a year.
Right.
That
Yeah.
Having to sit out a year,
that
But you know,
that's a
but
nice
I got
dose of
always-
it's
that's
like
a
free
nice dose
agency.
of reality. Yeah.
It's like free
Yeah, but,
agency, man.
like-
okay, I'm out. Let me go. It's free agency. I'm out.
But you,
Yeah,
but
but
Dev,
like-
you know what else is creating with this transfer portal? You got people going pro that I looked and seen Richardson, the quarterback from Florida, going pro because he knew those other guys.
And he got a
coming in.
long way to go before he'll be a pro quarterback. He
Nah,
got a long
buddy.
way to go.
But
That
tell
kid
me,
got a
guys,
long way to go.
Listen, like for some people it works. Like my quarterback out of Penn State. You know what I'm saying? He's in there where there's a 5-star kid comes in, there's a lot of hype behind him, and I'm like, look, this, you know what I'm saying? That's a different situation.
He gotta go.
You gotta
Drew
go.
Law?
No, he came in
Yeah,
for
that kid different. That kid is a pro. We already know that. That kid
But that's what I'm
6'5",
saying,
throw it a mile. Yeah, if you're on the roster and he showed up, just get the hell on, man. Because
he's
he's gonna play.
6'5".
Yeah,
he's
get the hell on.
6'5".
It's like, yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So going back to the thing with Deion, you know, like I said, I can understand both sides of you know, what people are talking about, because when you look at it again, also the thing I didn't like about Deion, and Tony can attest to this, a lot of people gave me a lot of flack when I said, they asked me, they said, Al, do you send your kids to HBCU or Power 5? I said it depends on the kid. If I think a kid is at that level, yeah. If I had a kid at Coach at Gonzaga, played at Howard, hell of a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Daddy had money. I knew he wasn't gonna have issues with anything else. But if a kid comes to me after he can play, and I got Alabama and I got Jackson State, I'm gonna say go to Alabama. And black folks was pissed. They were like, man, you're not trying to build a culture. I said, no, it's not that. It's the fact that I'm trying to put him in the best situation. And like I said, if today my son had an opportunity and it's Alabama and it's Stanford, I'm gonna be like, son, you're going to Stanford. Why? Because that's the best opportunity for you to survive in life, for you to make it in life. And you can still play football at the highest level, but because at some point in time, football is going to stop. And the connection that people you meet over there at Stanford is going to take you a long way. So I'm not going to say, you know, hey, it's because of Power 5. No, it's because of we all want our people to be in the best situation. So when Deion said, like I told Tony, when Deion said to a kid, well, why would you go there instead of a Jackson State? I'm like, Deion, why not? So again,
I wanted to throw this in here. I'm sorry, Al. Let me throw this in here. One of our viewers, Isidore Taylor, he was my son's travel baseball coach. He used to be an assistant coach at DeMatha, assistant varsity baseball coach. He worked with Sean. Mo Williams from the NBA is the Jackson State basketball coach. So if you're a young basketball player and you want to be coached by a pro, Mo Williams has more checks that he booked from the NBA than everybody on this show. So maybe that guy might know something.
And he got a ring. He got a ring in 2016.
And he's got a ring.
But
He got a ring.
And we need more HBCU black coaches of former NBA players. We need more coaches like Eddie George. We need more coaches like Hugh Jackson.
Agree.
Yeah,
we
keep them
need
coming.
that collectively
Keep
around the HBCU,
Yes.
because when you look at the HBCU list of who came and became professional athletes back in the day, it was amazing how many
a lot
came
of
from there.
I'm not sending my kid to Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson showed me that with the eyebrows high. He's not getting my
It was
kid.
insane.
Hugh Jackson's not the guy. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing,
My
though.
kid's not going to play for that clown. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing what
Nowhere
HBCU have to do. HBCU has to realize that if you want to compete with these other schools, you got to change your structure. You got to build your facility. You got to make sure sports is at the top. I've been to Howard with 2 different coaches. When a Howard coach tells me, and I got into it with him. I took a recruit up there. He says, well, you know, we're more focused on education. I said, let me tell you something. I said, maybe you need to go up to Yale University. I said, Yale University facility is better than any D1 school in the state of Connecticut. I said, when NFL team want to work teams out, they take them to Yale University.
And
they got an indoor, they got everything. I said, so understand this. Well, y'all guys keep saying that it's not just about education, it's about being well-rounded. When they decided to say, let's structure this, let's say NCAA, we're gonna screw you NCAA. You know, if you gotta leave out the NCAA, leave out the NCAA. I don't care if y'all should have. I've been said I should have thought about the NIL deal at the HBCU before the FBS thought about it. Now you can compete with a lot of those kids because a lot of those kids who struggle, parents need something. You can recruit a lot of those kids into HBCU. Once that football gets better, TV people going to want to watch it.
Al, can I add this though? And once again, my where I graduated from, Central State, is a state facility. And we keep saying that HBCUs need funding, but it's a doggone travesty that we had to sue the state of Ohio to get the money that they gave the right state. We had to sue the state of Ohio because they gave that money that's supposed to go to Central State to Ohio State, who don't need it. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because everybody keeps saying they need money, but when we getting it stolen from us right up under our nose, and everybody keeps saying like, well, it's y'all fault. Yeah, it's some. Listen, any level of, I don't care, corruption is at every level. We can't say it's at HBCU. Corruption is at politicians.
But here's the
corruption
thing.
is at, you know what I mean? So we can't build nothing up if we don't have the money.
No, I understand what is it, but what happened is this, like Tony said, with these, I mean, I go through the same thing in high school or whatever. If you don't have accountability, people go to HBCU and they leave, and the only time they want to come back is homecoming. They don't even care about who's putting money. They don't care about endowment. They don't care about nothing. They talk about the experience. The experience is great, but now give back to that experience. You know what I'm saying? Because all these other PW schools, they make sure they do that. It's not just on one day, but every day. Even no matter how a government is structured, if you don't have a watchdog, somebody to watch, somebody to say, let's keep them accountable. So I appreciate what you're saying is, that it only happens because why? Black folks just leave and they don't sit there and say something. Sue them. Do what you have to do. Like, again, this is the first time I ever heard that. You know what I'm saying? We have enough black people here. We have enough black people to have platforms. Cleveland, go to LeBron James. Hey, LeBron, man, I need you to tweet this out. This is what happened with stolen money. This is what happened in Cleveland. Let that thing hit the news like Wi-Fi, and I guarantee you stuff will change. But a lot of us, I'm not there anymore. Why should I care? I'm not, hey, man, forget them. I ain't got time. I got to go to work. I got to do this. It's accountability.
I'm sorry, somebody also chimed in on this. Jackson State actually beat Texas Tech in basketball last week. Texas Tech was they were in the Final Four, 3 years ago against UVA.
Yeah, the championship game. Yeah.
They should have won. And honestly, they should have probably won that game, but they lost.
I saw he also said something about 130 killings in Jackson State, down in Jackson, Mississippi this year.
Jackson is terrible down there.
And they found a kid dead out there in the car. I wrote a piece on that. It'll be out tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
We have a lot of
down there last year.
We have a lot of issues in our community that we need to work on, and I totally dig that. I don't expect a Deion Sanders or any football or basketball coach to fix that. That's the Disney movie, right? That's the Disney movie.
Yeah, but I understand. But
real quick, I don't mean to be in that room, but I got to go, fellas. I got two other platforms I need to be on for talking about Deion tonight. So
Devin is always busy.
I'm gonna call you, Devin.
Yeah.
I'm call you.
All right,
thank you, Devin.
I appreciate you guys. All right, later, man.
The problem
Devin
with
Mason,
Deion,
boys and girls.
the problem with Deion is he sold a dream. That's the problem. Things that he weren't going to achieve. We know Deion got money, so for Deion to spend millions or for people to get money, that's his given. What I was looking for was the fact that Deion, one day I was going to see Jackson State playing with LSU or playing with Ole Miss, Mississippi State. That's what I was looking for. But that's the dream he sold. Because think about it. If you telling kids, come play for me at Jackson State, you telling that kid you can play against anybody. If you telling that kid, I'm going to prepare you for the NFL, that means those Ole Miss kids are going to NFL. So I got NFL talent. So your talent should be able to match those talent. That's my only thing with the dream that he said that he sold to the black folks. And a lot of the black folks bought it. And that's why a lot of them are angry. That's what I said. Even not just cut you off, just real quick. Even now, when he's at Colorado and he's doing all this big talk and all of this stuff, I'm like, Deion, you better be careful. It's a whole different beast. You're not going up against programs that don't have money. These other schools have money. You don't want to piss those kids off. I know what it's like when you walk into a new environment and you tell those old kids, I'm bringing my guys in. I got all my guys. We coming in. Because you know what's going to happen? That locker room is going to split. And you're not going to win. I can guarantee you that. if you have a split locker room, because those kids are going to be like, man, I'm not his favorite. I'm not his head. You're going to have the other kids that's going to poison all those other kids. And those kids that you bring in, they already got a chip on their shoulder. Man, I'm here to take your job. I'm here because we came here to, they're going to look down on the other guys. I've been in that situation before. And that was one of the things I said, you cannot do that. When you walk into a place, you embrace everybody. Say, hey, I got guys coming in, but I'm here to be your coach. I'm going to be like your father now. Put your trust in me. We're going to build this thing together. Not go in there and say, hey, if you want to leave, you can leave.
So, two things, and I know the game just kicked off. Two things
Yeah.
I want to address with you. The first one was you said that if we went to LeBron James and got LeBron to tweet it. That's what Deion Sanders was for. He was our spokesman. He was that person everybody was going to listen to. That's why I say when he left, he was our LeBron James, because he had the whole world in his hand because he was so polarizing. That's why I said I'm not mad that he did it for his career, but for personal, I'm saddened. The second thing you made mention was about the players coming taking the other player's position. I'm going to tell you like this, and you said it first. If he don't win, he's just another guy.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Listen, he's not going to be another guy. If he doesn't win, he's going to get dragged through the mud.
Yeah.
He's going to get
he
dragged.
knows. He knows.
Listen, I don't think he knows yet, because you don't know something until it happens.
And
then
then
it happens to you. He don't know because it hasn't happened to him.
So
he was laughed at before he even took the Jackson State job. So he knows what can happen if he fails. He knows.
But where does he go? Where does he go? Okay, let's say he go out there and his first year going to be a struggle. We know his first year. I mean, they're one.
It's going to be terrible.
I think they go to 4 to 5 wins just with Deion being there. But guess what? In year 2, when they're there and they got all these guys that transferred in, they're expecting them to win the Pac-12 probably in 2 years. If they don't win,
that ain't going to happen.
He struggles because they're going to come. They got unrealistic expectations of Colorado right now. A team that ain't won in 30 years, 25, 30 years, they're expecting them to come in just because Deion walked on campus. They're expecting them to beat the Oregons. No, Oregon still got Phil Knight up there. Oregon still got Phil Knight up there. Washington State ain't going nowhere. Washington ain't going nowhere. Those are two good programs. And Washington State and Washington and Oregon are still good programs, even though UCLA and USC are leaving. So if he doesn't produce and they get rid of him like they did Herm Edwards, a guy with pro credentials, they got rid of him. They didn't even let that man get to the locker room. They fired him on the field, Al. Tony, Dave, they fired that man on the field. Have you ever seen anybody get fired on the field? He didn't even get a chance to go address his team. He was fired, met by the head coach and the AD. When does the AD even come on the field? So what I'm saying is, where does Deion Sanders go in 2 to 3 years if the Colorado is not successful? Do we go back to the HBCU that he left?
Booth. He goes on the Booth, Amazon. He goes back to TV. But he's done.
That's my thing, bro. My thing is, you go in that situation, the same mistake he's making now. You're selling a dream too much. That people love Deion out and people hate him. You know what I'm saying? If he's not successful, people are gonna hate him more. He's gonna destroy himself more. But like I said, I've seen that situation, and I've seen how people. I mean, it's the meme, it's everywhere. You know, I got my Gucci.
He'll be all right.
I got my this. Again, Deion is different. We're all of us sports. We play sports. We coach sports. It's one thing to play versus coaching. When I play, I can control the situation. When I coach, I can't control it. I can only call plays and let them do it. So regardless of how much of a player, how much good I am, if I can't get those kids to play, nothing else matters. So Deion playing wise, Deion bringing the hype is different in the Pac-12. And
I hear you.
My thing is, again, y'all sitting here, and I'm saying this. He's doing the same thing he did selling dreams, because a lot of people didn't understand. I say it again, and I said a lot of times. Deion came to help Jackson State. He didn't come in there for Jackson State to be playing against Ole Miss. That's why he even made a statement, I'm not taking these games. I'm not going to play these games for money. Why do they play these games for money? But guess what, though, Deion? You're going to be doing the same thing in Colorado now. Because if you don't, listen. People don't understand. There's a reason why Alabama plays those soft teams in the middle of the year. There's a reason why everybody put those soft teams in there because it's college. You don't have a preseason. You need sometime to buffer it to play this team to see where you at, and also in the middle of the year to say, man, we've been bagging so hard. We play in this conference. Let's take a cakewalk right now, and it's like, which is almost like a bye week, and then they come back and they continue. So again, you're going to need to play. I'm saying everything that he says is right there. That's my only thing. So I'm with him with leaving. At some point in time, I would have did it. The only difference is I want to promise this and promise that. I want to be sitting down in those kids' living room telling them that you shouldn't go to Power 5. I would have been telling them why you should come to HBCU, but not telling them why you shouldn't go there, because I know it is better over there. It's more money over there. That was my only thing with the issue was, Deion, you saying don't go to Power 5, stay here, this is where it's at, and then all of a sudden, we know that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, fellas, I gotta go, but
okay.
I love Al. I love your perspective. You know,
Appreciate it, Al.
But it's just for me, I'm tired of our leaders, and he was a leader. He was an iconic figure, and we finally get. I'm like, yes, we got somebody. We got a voice. We got a voice out here, y'all. We got somebody, because they're not hearing me. They're not hearing Tony. Not hearing Dave. They're not hearing Al, but they hearing Deion, man. And Deion was making changes. And then guess what? As normal, where I come from, I grew up in the hood, man. And I done went to public schools, and I went and played college basketball and all that good stuff. And I'm just used to being let down. And
Hey, Jody, I know how you feel, man. Hey, Jody, I know how you feel, man. I felt the same way when Barry Sanders retired. That's kind of like what happened. Because I was like, Barry, the record is right there. Just one more season, Barry.
Go get
You're not hurt. Nothing is wrong with you. Get the record, Barry. That's how I felt, because I was a Barry Sanders fan.
I feel you,
I hear
man.
you.
But yeah, man, I appreciate the perspective. Deion, yes, great luck, man. I want you to do well. But I can't, if I sit up here and said I wasn't hurt that he left for our culture, I'm just tired of our leaders being bought with a price, man. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Ted DiBiase, everybody got a price. Everybody
we don't have to leave it right there for tonight. You know, we did an easy 1 hour and 15 minutes like it was nothing. Thanks, Al. Great perspective.
Everybody got a price.
Hey,
everybody's got a price.
And everybody's still in the damn check.
Hey, somebody cut that check.
Got a price, and everybody's a Russell Wilson too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm back
thanks
Thursday,
to,
man. I'm back
and
Thursday.
thanks to Izzy Taylor for joining us as well in the chat room there.
Hey,
he
before they
put
go,
some good stuff in there.
Hold on. Before y'all go,
we're not talking about Dallas today.
How about them Cowboys?
No, sir.
No,
sir.
I'm out of here. I'm gone. Bye.
Something's wrong with the StreamYard, Tony. I think it's broke. I think the link is broke.
Yeah, I know.
Let me see if I can fix it.
It's gonna stay broken. Hey, folks, I'm playing by myself.
I feel you, Tony. We'll get Dallas on the next show.
We'll see y'all in the Super Bowl. Goodbye.
Yep. I don't know about that.
Good night.
Good night.
Great show.
My man.